Uh, so welcome, Rita. Rita is running for City Council in District 40. I keep getting my districts confused. And so please take some time and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Rita Joseph. I'm a mom, an educator, a community activist. I've been an educator for 21 years. I'm a mom who cares and passionate about affordable housing, social justice, education. Of course, as an educator, I would love to always see the education that the New York City students receive, that is a world-class education, that is equitable, that they have access, they have smaller classrooms, they have more teachers, more nurses, more social workers. In terms of housing, it directly impacts me. I teach a large population of students who live in alternative housing, so I see them. I know their struggles. I see the struggles of the families every single day. So I know 1 in 8 of my students who live in District 40 live in a homeless shelter, whether it's double up, whether it's a shelter, whether it's scattered site. It's nevertheless, it's not a place they call home. Social justice, a mom of 4 Black boys who never wants to on an interaction with the police to end up in a good situation where they get to come home. So far too many times I've seen the interactions to 12 minutes interaction between the brown and black and brown communities don't end up too well. So as a mom of 4 boys, I would love to see that. Social justice reform, definitely. And now I'm running for city council because of the work that I've been doing in the community through food drive, food pantries. I didn't just start doing any of this work because of COVID-19. I saw the need and I jumped in on a larger scale, whether it's my students or the community at large. I've always been there for the past 2 decades. I've been teaching and knowing that the needs of the communities are there. And now I'm ready for city council to take that level of work on a larger scale.
Thank you. Um, Now we'll open it up for questions. Um, if you have a question, you can use the raise your hand feature, or we actually have a lot of people, so I'm not sure I'll see you if you just stick your hand up, but I'll try. Matt, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, pleasure to meet you.
And Matt,
Two questions. One is, what if you're elected and you're put on one of the committees that is not directly related to your campaign issues, top campaign issues? How will you handle that? And secondly, could you please state your views on the current status of the Brooklyn Democratic Party?
I'm unfortunately, I am a member. I'm not a member of the Democratic Party. I am a member. I'm a county committee member for the New Kings Democrat. In all institution, reform comes with age, comes with time. So it's time for evolve and meet with the new time. And I've seen the stuff that happens in those meetings. I've attended the meetings on behalf of NDK, and I've seen the 26-hour meetings. I stayed up so I can vote for those long hours. So definitely we need change, we need reform, and it's time. In any institution, you move with the times and the ages. And your other question, if I did not get put on a committee, that one of the things about being an educator is always about teamwork, collaborations across the board. And one of the things, if I didn't get put on the committee, I would work across the boards to make sure that the issues that I'm passionate about always get heard and cared about, and make sure that I work in colleagues. Even now I'm not elected, I've reached out across the board with other council candidates to work on issues that matters to me. Maternal health. 40 of the candidates running across the city, we wrote an op-ed together. I don't know them, they don't know me, but guess what? We're passionate about it, and it's about community. Reach out, start building the alliance now. In 2021, I will not know one council member going in. We're new cohorts, but we started collaborating on the grounds now to make sure that the needs of our communities are being met.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Welcome.
Marion has a question. Unmute, Marion.
Happens to be every morning in remote learning.
Hello, Rita. Hello, everyone. Several years ago, Community Board 14 did a survey of green spaces in the community board and found that and NYU research has shown that our community board ranks 49 out of 51 in terms of accessibility, resident accessibility to public green space. In that same study by Community Board 14, they've identified a prime piece of land owned by the city at Church and Bedford, at a vacant lot now that would be really good for parkland or open space. Now, Matthew Eugene and Eric Adams in November have teamed together to propose affordable housing on that site. And now, so there is the factor of need for green space, this factor of need for housing. There's also the factor of building new housing as opposed to renovating is more costly on the environment, it's more damaging. And then of course that site might also be the site of a African-American burial ground.
I saw that.
How do we bring all these factors to the community attention, as well as have the council act appropriately in this case? Should Matthew Eugene and Eric Adams not have closed the case before you get elected?
Well, no, I always say Black and brown neighborhoods constantly don't have enough green space. That's why I'm pushing. I'm one of the people supporting the Green New Deal. I'm in favor of, yeah, I saw that in the news about the space. From what I understood it, I thought it was a done deal. If we can fight, I'm ready to come in and fight for that space. I saw that they were gonna turn it into alternative housing, but they had to halt it because they had to bring in archaeologists to look up at the soil, to see the dating and the artifacts that were remaining. I saw that. I saw all of that. Again, I think community boards, I think now they should have limited. Some of these people have been on the boards forever. I've always felt that they should have limited. I applied to sit on a community board. I wasn't accepted. And I went through the whole process and I wasn't accepted. I feel that more voices of the community should be part of that decision-making factor. Always include the community. They're stakeholders. They live here. They make the decision. Sometimes they make decisions for us and not with us. So definitely, I would definitely, if I was in city council, I'd probably review it, probably do a revision and bring all the stakeholders to the table, definitely.
So just for your information, everyone's information, there is a so-called 6-month consultation process, which would end just before the elections. And we can understand why. So that case is not a done deal. And I think all of these factors and the good of the community needs to be looked at.
That's right. And the voices this is the time to raise our voices more than ever. This is the time. I think COVID put everything out there in the open that we need to raise our voices even more. If we didn't want to get involved, this is the chance to get involved. I always say that as an educator and as a mom and as a community person, we ask people we want you to be civically engaged. I want them to be civically educated and engaged. What am I getting involved in? How am I getting involved? How is my voice valuable to this? How do I bring my value to the table? So I think that's something I'm thinking a curriculum as early as elementary to engage, to teach the people of New York City, all of them, to civically educate and then civically get engaged. It's two different things and they go hand in hand.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita, for that answer. Other questions? Well, I'll ask one. In your questionnaire, you mentioned that you plan to reallocate funds from the NYPD to education and also to healthcare. So knowing what what's needed in education. I mean, there's no shortage of places where funds can go. How would you allocate additional funds in healthcare in terms of, New York City's ability to do that?
More money for public schools, more money for public hospitals, improve doctor-patient ratios, decrease classroom size, access to technology. I am an ENL coordinator for my school, and I'm also the tech coordinator. If I told you what my life was like March 17, 18, and 19, you wouldn't believe. The lack of devices I had to set up with my parents and my staff members. When we went into remote, I put in 16 hours a day by my kitchen table, setting up iPads. And the community, this District 40, the side that I live on, these are essential workers. Miss Joseph, I'm not gonna be home at 5. They don't get home at 3. So I'm waiting for them to get home at 9 o'clock to do the FaceTime. And there were times my partner would have to go pick up the iPads, bring them to the house, set them up, and send them back. So that's the passion that, when I'm elected, that's the same passion I bring to education as the same.
Thank you. Michael?
I think
Yes,
she's paused.
I'm sorry?
Sam, you're unmuted. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, you're saying you think Rita's paused. Rita, are you there?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm here.
Mark.
Can you hear
No,
me?
Michael,
Yes.
I was calling on you to.
Yeah, no, I think
please.
Sam jumped in to say Rita was paused, but she was, but she's now one pause. So I think we're
Okay,
good.
so now I can continue just a little for hospital.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
Yeah, hospitals, maternal mortality. I've heard firsthand nurses who overworked, including my partner, who's happened to be a nurse as well. Sorry, Michael.
Don't
Go
worry.
ahead.
I didn't, it seemed, it was such a natural ending point. I didn't realize you had more. So
Yeah, same here.
I have a lot of things that I'm passionate about. As a mom, as a community member, I have a lot of fights.
Love it.
Good.
Love it. Thanks, Ellen, and congratulations, Rita, on running.
Thank you.
I want to say I just been reading through your questionnaire. I really appreciated the level of detail you put into the questionnaire and
Thank you.
the answers. I appreciated you starting off saying you're passionate about affordable housing and that you're for the Soho rezoning. I think those are great things that elected officials need to kind of own a responsibility for. I wonder, just zone in on one thing you said in your questionnaire and just kind of tease it out and see what you mean by that, or have you elaborate on that. You say, in sum, I think the single most important factor when making decisions regarding land use is listening to the communities that will be most affected by any policy choice, with the important caveat that NIMBYism cannot be allowed to win the day. Can you say more about what you mean by that, and what role you think you would play in making sure the community is heard with respect to land use decisions?
One of the things that my team and we've always taught about, even when I was planning out this campaign, this wasn't done. I talked to stakeholders, to parents, to family members, just to plan out the campaign, that to make sure that, I'm working for you. You elect me, I work for you. So what your needs are the ones you put in front of me. So one of the things that I always say is, you have to be you have to make the community a part of the conversation. I can't come build a house around the corner and never have a conversation with you. How do I know that's the house you wanted? I always say need assessment. I'm a teacher. Data drives instruction for me. So that my data is the house. Does Michael really need a 5-story house on the corner of his block? Maybe not. Maybe he needs something else. Maybe he needs a community space on the bottom of the building to accommodate the children. Maybe there's people in the area that he probably want to do stuff with. Maybe he needs an art program. Maybe he needs other stuff. They don't do that. They just come in and they build shelters. Who says I need a shelter in my backyard? Most people, all this affordable housing, all these shelters are not built in Soho. So they always like, oh, not in my backyard. That's what I mean by that. Not in my backyard. But yet everybody's like, we need affordable housing. Build some on the Upper East Side. Build some in Soho. Build some in Tribeca, in the nice, wealthy neighborhoods as well. Stop pushing them down our throats. That's what I mean by that. So that's what I mean by that. It's just a little gangster style.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think it's a tough tension, because I'm one that thinks we need to increase the supply and including our neighborhoods. And there are a lot of ways to do it. not just with upzoning. There's accessory dwelling units that I've mentioned with a couple of conversations that I really hope we look at seriously, especially in this district. But I appreciated the acknowledgement of that kind of tension in your role that you would have there. So thank you.
I'm working for the voters. I'm not working for Rita Joseph. I'm working for the voters. It's their needs that matters.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that answer. Jen, you have a question?
Hi, Rita. My name is Jen. How are you?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay.
I just wanted to ask a little bit about you know, how I think you, I'm not positive, but I thought you live kind of like in the sort of central part of the district. I was just wondering, like, you know, how do you feel like you're gonna be able to create inroads in some of the parts of the district where people might not be as familiar with you, like over in Kensington or, you know, Crown Heights or in Ditmas Park?
All right, so let me tell you, I plan on traveling in the district to go and meet my constituents or call them on the phone. I've been phone banking. So far, I've phone banked 24,000 people in the district just to say hello. And a lot of people appreciate that, just to say hi. I'm Rita and I'm running for city council and I just wanted to see how you are today, especially with the bad weather. We got on the phone all last week. We called to check in on people. Wellness checks. I do wellness checks. Another thing, here's a little tidbit. Ditmas Park, grew up in Ditmas Park, went to PS 139, went to Ditmas. My family owned a home on Stratford Road between Cortelyou and Slocum. I have roots. Every Sunday, you'll find me at the farm having brunch, Connecticut muffin, up and down. My kids went to PS 39. So I have history in Ditmas Park, and the others I don't know, I will be traveling the district just to introduce myself. I will be the opposite of my current council member. You guys will be tired of me and be like, there goes Miss Joseph again. Oh my goodness. But that's the point. I'm a teacher. So teachers, we go out. We go out of our way for our students, and I will go out of my way for you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that answer, Rita.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, look at that cutie. How old? Oh my gosh.
16 months.
Oh, hi.
Sarah.
All right. Would you support the New York Health Act? And if so, would you be interested in signing a candidate pledge to pledge your support for the New York Health Act? Which would be
your button. Your button is on my backpack. Everywhere I go, it's there. I'm going to support your pledge. And yes, I do support the passage of the New York Health Act. You have my support. And I'm going to send it to me right now. You have my email. Send it to me right now and I will sign on. I know how important health is. I'm going to tell a little quick story. I know I'm not going to deviate, but I realized that one of the things I realized, Michael, this is like for you too. My students, a lot of them don't get to see doctors. So my school is not a community school, but I made it into a community school. So some of the students, it's at the school that they get to see a dentist. They have never seen a dentist before. One of the things we partnered up with a glasses company. They would come in and do the eye exam and provide a free glasses. So those are the things, the doctors, we usually partner up with Department of Health for them to send a doctor to do the regular checkups. The things I take for granted, I can walk into the hospital. Most of my parents, especially my immigrant communities, don't have that. If they don't have insurance, they either also lack the language access. So that's another thing. In order for them to get the services, they also need language access. So that's where it is for me.
Thank you so much, Rita. I think we're gonna have to end right now, but thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you for having me and knowing that this district, you have an ally, you have a friend. I get elected, know that you have someone who has your back and has your voice in City Hall.
Thank you. And we'll be posting this recording on our social media and our website. And our general meeting coming up is February 21st, and we'll be talking about which races to endorse in, and if we decide to endorse, then which candidates.
Wonderful.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.